I felt the whole room freeze the moment she said it. My niece, only 11, her voice sharp enough to cut straight through the noise of clinking utensils. We don't sit with your kind. She delivered it like a line she'd practiced, something she'd heard and decided to repeat. And the worst part? They all laughed. My brother's mouth curled. My sister-in-law hid a smirk behind her champagne glass. Even my mother acted like she didn't hear a thing. She stared down at her plate as if mashed potatoes could shield her from embarrassment. I didn't respond. I simply adjusted the napkin on my lap and let the sting turn into something colder, cleaner. Because what they didn't know was almost poetic. I own every property they called home. And tonight was the start. My family hadn't always been this way. There was a time when they adored me, when I was their quiet, ambitious star, the one they bragged about to anyone who'd listen. First to graduate, first to build something meaningful, the one who covered our parents' medical bills, even though I was the youngest. Back then I was the dependable one. That was true, until my success started to make them uncomfortable. Money doesn't change the person earning it, only the people watching. The shift was slow. Fewer invitations, whispered conversations when I walked in, mutters disguised as concerns. She thinks she's better than us. She's different. She doesn't belong here. I ignored it until I couldn't. The real betrayal came dressed up as a family meeting. They sat me down in my mother's living room, everyone except my mother, who claimed a migraine and told me I shouldn't come to gatherings anymore because my presence made everyone uneasy. My presence, not my behavior, not my actions, my existence. I held my breath so tightly my ribs ached, but I didn't fight back. Not yet. Betrayal is fuel, and I burned slowly. In the next 2 years I watched, listened, studied. My brother was overspending and falling behind on his mortgage. My sister-in-law hid credit card debt from him. My cousin was months overdue on rent. My mother's house, my childhood home, was close to foreclosure. They were sinking, and I had the legal authority to decide who would get a lifeline. See, what they never wondered, never cared enough to ask, was what my company actually did. Real estate acquisitions, property rescue, landlord and investor operations. Put simply, I bought mismanaged properties, including theirs. When they each signed their new leases, none of them bothered reading the ownership line, my name, my signature, my terms. But I waited. Revenge doesn't taste right when rushed. Tonight's dinner was the moment I'd prepared for. After their laughter faded and half-eaten plates sat in front of them, I placed a small folder on the table. You all seem comfortable, I said. My voice was steady, almost casual. But there's something you should know before dessert. My brother scoffed. What now? Another speech about success. I slid the first document toward him. His jaw tightened as he read the title. Property ownership transfer notice. That's our house. I nodded. Yes, you're 3 months behind. I finalized the purchase last week. My sister-in-law's fork fell. You can't. This has to be wrong. It isn't. I slid the next paper to my cousin, then another to my aunt, then another. One by one, their faces drained of color. You own all of these, my brother whispered. All of them. I turned to my niece, the same girl who'd mocked me minutes earlier, including the roof you sleep under. The room went still, suffocating. My mother watched quietly as if she had always sensed this reckoning would come. My brother swallowed. What do you want? Respect, I said. You don't have to love me. You don't even need to like me. But you will never address me the way you did tonight. Not you, not your children, no one. He opened his mouth to argue, then shut it again. Silence can be its own apology. I stood, buttoned my coat, and left the folder on the table like a headstone. As I reached the door, my niece called. Out, her voice shaking. Are you kicking us out? I glanced back. No, not tonight. Their relief was instant, almost pitiful. But understand this, I added. You don't get to define what kind I am. You only get to live in what I own. Then I walked out. The cold air outside felt like cleansing, not victory, not revenge, just release. They created a world where I didn't belong. So I built one around them. Stronger, higher one. They'd have to look up to see me in. And for the first time in years, that